Hello, listeners. Wow, I'm lying in my bed, which is not unusual because I do so much for my bed, do I not? I'm a grandmother and I decided about 10 years ago that I should spend more time in bed. And it pays off. As long as you get the exercise, darlings, it doesn't matter. And I do a lot of exercise, but not at the moment because on Monday at around 6:30 p.m. I had double eye surgery. It's a lift basically. Now, I'll tell you what was happening. So on my right eye, the lid had dropped so low, just on that side, that it had started to irritate my eyelashes, and it had started to affect my vision. So getting that done on the National Health was going to prove very, very difficult, and a series of long appointments, and there was, the possibility of having it done was pretty slim anyway, because it's not an urgent thing, even though it was persistent. It was really persistent, really annoying. Sometimes I had to actually wear a patch to cover it up so that it was closed, so that it didn't irritate. So it was becoming problematic. Anyway, the other problem is, of course, the National Health. They'd do that eye, but they wouldn't do the other. So I'd end up with an eye with a lid removed and the other one not. And no lady wants to be that lopsided. I mean, I was lopsided enough. So anyway, I decided to go private. So I've just had a double eye lift. And while I was there, this was the top lids. And while I was there, I thought, well, I may as well get the bags done as well. They were problematic in terms of, vanity. I didn't hate them. And I, always wear glasses anyway. And glasses are amazing for covering, eye bags up. They lend themselves the right shape and everything, especially if you wear them tinted. So I was doing all that. Anyway, long story short-ish. I went and had the surgery, and it was, how shall I say, the worst bit, I would say, is the anaesthetic, because they put me right under, so I didn't have it just numbed. Because I was having both done, I didn't have them, the surgeon said to me, it's better if I'm asleep because there's quite a lot to do. There's a lot of poking around. And I was quite glad of that. I thought, I don't want to be awake for all that broggling around. It's very near, isn't it? Very near to a highly sensitive area, your eye. so we did that, and I came around, but I had a bit of trouble coming around, to be honest. It was not quite as easy. I mean, they sort of say to you, my doctor's lovely, absolutely amazing. They sort of say to you, oh yeah, you'll be ready to go home in 2 hours. Well, that was not quite right. My surgery was at about 6:30, and I didn't come into my room until about 8. So the operation was an hour and a half, but there was obviously some time to bring me round. And then when I came into the room, my mum and my godfather were there, and I was just not compos mentis. I mean, I was all over the place. They got me into my bed, and I thought, I'm never going to, I could tell that I wasn't going to, I wasn't ready to be alive yet. I mean, it was horrific. It was completely out of my control. But it was only horrific because I'm an active person and I'm normally a very healthy person. And I knew I had to, vacate the room and all of that. If I had my time again, I would have stayed the night. I'd have booked a night, I think. Then, you've got all that time to relax and come round. But as it was, my mum wanted to get home, and my godfather, bless him, he was driving. It was a long drive, etc., etc. So sort of under a little bit of pressure there, I think, to come round, be sensible, wake up and go home. And I did by 2 a.m. So it was a pretty long thing. Anyway, I was thrilled with the result. I mean, I looked in the mirror and it was absolutely fantastic. My mum said, oh my God, it looks like you've had a facelift. And what I've had is I've had an extended eye bag removal. So the scar comes along about an inch further, but it's in the natural creases of when you smile, and no one's going to be able to see the scars. Scars are very fine anyway, and I do wear a lot of makeup, especially when I'm on stage and stuff. So it's lifted, it's really lifted everything. My cheeks are smoother. I mean, absolute miracle. I was over the moon. So the next day, which was yesterday, I couldn't sleep once I got home at that 2 o'clock. And I thought, well, I've slept for 4 hours. So I probably just wasn't tired enough, But I did shut my eyes. So I just sort of sat and, listened to TV, because they don't like you watching too much TV because it can affect all the muscles in your eyes. You've got to rest them. So rest is really paramount. So yesterday was quite uncomfortable in terms of feeling a bit nauseous, and the anaesthetic was still there. So I didn't feel too much pain in the eyes. So that was quite good. But I felt generally quite tired. Anyway, today, clearly the anaesthetic's worn off, but I still feel sick with the paracetamol. Always make me feel sick. They always have done. And today's no different. I'm feeling quite icky. So somebody's messaging me there. So anyway, I did go out. I had to pop out and get some cat food. If I'd left it in the car, basically. So I had to go out and get that. It was really nice just to be out in some fresh air. It was lovely. Of course, I'm back in now. And I'm bored stiff. But the eye thing, the swelling has really come out today. And because I've swelled, the stitches are really pinching. So I would say, this is my sort of second day coming up for, so this is my second day. So I had it Monday night, Tuesday, first day. This is my second day. And it's easily the worst because of the pinching, itching, swelling, throbbing. So I've been using my eye mask. There was such a lovely, I went to a place called Spire Hospital, and it was absolutely lovely. The nurses were fantastic. It's the first time I've ever been private, and you notice immediately that they have lots and lots of time. There's nobody more important than you. They're very kind, very considerate, making sure at every step you're okay, coming and talking to you, making sure you know the procedure, making sure you know what's happening after, and then making sure you're all right until you're off the premises. So, go home now. I mean, I wasn't the only patient there, so I was the only patient for my doctor, but there were other patients there. So I wasn't holding up proceedings or anything, but it's a weird thing when people are very nice to you, actually, and very kind. You really don't want to encroach on them. But she was taking me downstairs in a wheelchair, the nurse, and I suddenly got quite cold, and I said, "Oh, I've forgotten my beanie." And I felt really bad because it was only a beanie, but it was a Gucci beanie. And I said, "Oh, I'd leave it, but it's Gucci." I just thought, what a dickhead. What an absolute dick. Do you know what I mean? It's such a stupid thing. But she was wonderful, and she went back upstairs and got it for me. So that was really good. Also, somebody came around and said, I'm ordering your food for after your surgery. What would you like? And put a menu in front of me. It was a selection of sort of wraps and, for every diet. And it was wonderful. So I ordered the chicken wrap. But of course, when I came round, I couldn't eat anything. There was no saliva whatsoever. Now, I'd had all these what ifs because, I'm a woman of a certain age, and we worry a bit more about when we need to go toilet, we really need to go toilet, don't we? I mean, that's imperative. Our bladders aren't as strong. So I was thinking of the what ifs before the surgery. What if I wet myself? And I really got it into my head that I was going to wet myself, or even worse, poop. And I think the last time I went for a serious operation, apart from my cancer stuff, was giving birth, which of course you poop and wee and all sorts. I mean, everything's coming out when you're giving birth. But when you have an anaesthetic, things stop working. So there's no chance that you're going to poop or wee. Doesn't happen. And you're not producing saliva. I assume that's why anyway. I did say to the nurse I was worried about wetting myself, and he said, no, you can't when you're under anaesthetic. Nothing happens. So I was so pleased. But I had no saliva production, so it was really difficult for me to eat. So I didn't, eat very much. My godfather bought me chocolates. I did stuff my face with those yesterday. So anyway, I'm still a bit dry, actually, if I'm honest. So I'm trying to drink plenty of water because of the swelling. If you've got swelling, you should drink water. which sounds paradoxical, but it actually does work. So I'm trying to do that, and I've taken all my tablets, and I'm bang on the hour with those because the pain is it's a bit rough today. It's a bit rough. I do recall when I had my cesarean, the stitches started to pinch, but not until about day 5 when you're really starting to heal. But this is pinching because of the swelling. So not the most comfortable procedure. I'm not going to lie to you guys. If you have to be in it, for the 2 weeks long haul. Apparently day 3 is the worst. So I'm hoping by tomorrow there'll be some relief. I've got the cold mask, so I'm going to put that on in a minute, which is really helpful. It didn't do anything yesterday, but today it's really helping because specifically that targets swelling. So, it just gives you a bit of relief, interim relief. So I'm going to go and have that. And it's a lovely eye mask gel thing. And you just stick it in your freezer box, guys. And there we have it. I'm going to find that useful, actually, when, for muscle strain. So it's a really useful thing. So using that, I think, I believe that I am beautiful, having had that procedure, because my eyes were getting very old looking. And obviously with this problem, with this drooping, it wasn't just a vanity thing. And I believe, because I said to the nurse yesterday, I think I can see better. Is that even a thing? And she said, yes. And what it is you're getting more light in. You're getting more light into your eyeball. And of course that makes a massive difference. I thought, well, yeah, of course. It's not because your eye was necessarily obstructed in that way that it was noticeable, but you're finally getting more light in. Absolutely wonderful, because everything's clearer. Everything. So I'm really chuffed at that. But yes, the eye bags have gone and the baggy lids have gone. So I'm going to, absolutely give Spire Hospital and Mr. Rogers, my surgeon, a massive thumbs up. Absolutely incredible. And that was the Spire Hospital in Southampton. And the doctor operates in Winchester as well. So I've got to go for my post-check in Winchester. So I'll be doing that. But I'll give you updates because the only thing I'm allowed to do is podcast. I'm not supposed to have screen time. I'm not supposed to watch TV. My throat's a little bit dry because of the anaesthetic and the breathing tube. So that, that's difficult for singing. I wanted to do some singing today. I'm going to have a little rest of that as well. So, and I can't type. I can't do my book. I'll see how I am in a few hours. I might write a song. At least I can write a song. The nurse actually said you can have a bit of screen time, but don't get any eye strain. Those were her exact words. So lots of rest, a bit of screen, a bit of rest. So I'm sort of doing that, as it were. So yeah, I'll let you know how it goes.